For the 80th straight year, the best amateur boxers from as close as Kansas City, Kansas, and as far away as St. Louis have come together for a chance to take one more step in the quest to be called a national champion. A win here earns you a spot in Las Vegas, Nevada for the 2015 National Golden Gloves Championships. This is the 80th annual Kansas City Golden Gloves Championship Fight, and it's coming up next on Caps 13. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas, and we are getting some awards that are coming out here between a couple of the female fighters as well. Now, Tim, we were talking before we went to break about the talent level here in Kansas City. And again, this Kansas City team does so well at Nationals every year. Can we expect to see the same kind of showing in Las Vegas this year as we saw from last year?
Oh, no lie. Yes, we can. And I'm telling you why. Because Tommy Hewitt-Johnson, he's been to Nationals since he turned 17. He's been going to Nationals, and right now he's about 24. He's got tons of experience. When you look at the 152-pound bout, now that's the one I'm looking for. That's Marcus Davidson versus Jesse Rivera. Marcus Davidson out at Turner Boxing arguably has been the hottest thing on the Kansas City boxing scene over the last 2 years, and he's been dominating at 152. Jesse Rivera, he was taking time off, thinking about going pro. He's a guy who's won national championships before. This is his first year back in at least 3 years, so now they're going to fight for it, past versus present. Everything is on the line for 152 and to represent Kansas City. Chase Calloway, since he was a youngster, his father, Rob Calloway, has challenged for world heavyweight titles. Yep. His father, over 90 fights. Chase Calloway's been doing this since he was in diapers. We got tons of people on this card with tons of experience, and they know how to put on a show, but better, they know how to win, even at the national level.
Yeah, Chase Calloway, like you were talking about, he's the number 7 ranked fighter in America. I mean, we're talking in the United States. So, again, just the talent level here is just so amazing. We're getting our first men's open bout now in the 114 class. Again, we explained everything with how both of these guys will be going to Las Vegas. Fighting out of the red corner, Tommy Hewitt-Johnson. He will be in the black trunks with the gold trim. Tevin Moore in the white trunks with the blue trim. And again, just kind of an odd weight class, you know, the 108 to 114. But these two guys, they want to put on a show. They don't want to come over here and just receive a belt. They want to get out there and they want to earn it.
Exactly, and you're going to see a real great boxing exhibition, not just in the ring, but also in the corners. Coach Neil Picard in the red corner for Tommy Hewitt-Johnson, last year's Kansas City, Missouri Coach of the Year. And he's filling in for Tommy Hewitt-Johnson's head coach, Jason Redmond. He was out on a trip when they realized that they weren't having any other boxers compete. In the blue corner, you got Master Melvin Wesley, one of the best coaches in Kansas City. I can't speak highly enough about him. So as much as the matchup is going to take place on the canvas, it's going to take place in the corner as well.
Hewitt-Johnson hails from St. Joseph, and Tevin Moore from St. Louis. So again, you're going to see, not only Kansas City, I think the Kansas City style kind of transcends, because you get guys coming in. We have one from as far south as Pryor, Oklahoma, as far east as St. Louis. I mean, this is such a mecca, really, for amateur boxing. And in these light classes, it seems like you see a lot more of the hands getting thrown. You see a lot more of the hand movement. You see a lot more of the dancing around the ring.
One thing you can expect in this fight is speed. Okay, Tommy Hewitt-Johnson, he may have the fastest hands in Kansas City right now, and he can work with them too. He has plenty of experience. He wants to go to the Olympics. He doesn't worry about the Kansas City tournament. He worries about nationals.
3 rounds of 3 minutes apiece. Tim will be filling us in on the amateur scoring as we go along. A little different from the professional.
Well, actually, that's what I was talking about with the change. In the past, Now, the amateur scoring system was about punches landed. You would see a small white mark on the glove, and it had to land flushly for a point scored. Every punch landed was a point scored. Now they've gone to the 10-point must system, like the professionals. The winner of the round, 10 points. Loser of the round, 9 points, unless the winner has dominated.
Moore has landed a couple good shots. That one with the right. Hewitt-Johnson coming back with the body. 2 more.
Now, something that hasn't changed is the standing 8 counts. Now, if you see a standing 8 count, that does not mean the fighter loses a point. It is for his protection. They're not looking to see anybody get knocked out in the amateurs, so you will see some standing 8 counts throughout the night and without knockdowns. And it's just purely because they're doing it for the fighter's safety. They're trying to prevent knockouts. And right now, you're probably not going to see too many 8 counts during this fight. Neither of these guys really hit that hard. That's what you get at the lower weight classes.
Two fighters come together. They're going to be separated. So far, good action from both of them. Really not an edge in this round that I can see. Moore has definitely landed the heavier shots.
And Moore, you may not see him throw as many punches. He's had some problems with shoulder injuries. There have been 2 different local shows that I could think of in which he couldn't compete because he had a dislocated shoulder. So that may be something to look for.
Especially since, he's already going to Las Vegas.
And Tevin Moore, and you will see it as the bout continues, a lot less experience than Tommy Hewitt-Johnson. So you're going to see Johnson do these things like these little shoulder bumps that an experienced vet does.
Moore with just 9 total fights to his name. Hewitt-Johnson with just shy of 75. Like you said, that experience, it's kind of showing. Hewitt-Johnson seems like he's working his way around the ring. He's got better ring presence than Tevin Moore does.
Yeah, and see this action right here? See, a novice will just tie up. Tommy Hewitt-Johnson, vet, he's looking to discombobulate his opponent. He's looking to get him off his game.
A good right from Johnson. Moore responds.
He's doing a great job countering Johnson so far.
Another good left.
And now remember, Moore is the natural 114-pounder. Tommy Hewitt-Johnson is naturally 108 pounds, which is a huge difference once you get that low in weight. So don't think that the weight class doesn't matter, because it does.
Another good left from Moore. Well, it does seem like Tevin Moore is really, really picking his battles. He is slipping in those left hands. That is the end of round 1. We'll send it to a break. Back right after this. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. The 80th annual Kansas City Golden Gloves Championship fights. This is the longest running sporting event in Kansas City. I'm Stephen McTeer. He is former Golden Gloves fighter Tim Spears. Tim, what did you see in round 1? We talked about a great exhibition of boxing, a great technical skill level. What did you see in that first round that maybe impressed you?
I saw a lot of great counters from Tevin Moore. That's what I saw. He's been using his reach quite well, catching Tommy, coming inside, and as he bobs out. He's got the reach on Hewitt-Johnson, and he's been using it in that first round.
Moore had a lot of success with that big left hand.
And also, one thing to look out for when you got 2 southpaws is neither of them like fighting southpaws. Nobody likes fighting southpaws. It doesn't matter if both fighters are left-handed. It's awkward to see.
Bit more wrestling there than boxing as we get back to it. Johnson going right after him. Another good left. There's those fast hands you were talking about, a flurry inside.
And Hewitt, his game usually is to either box outside, pick his spots, maybe hit once or twice. That was during the point system. when you only wanted to maybe throw once or twice at a time so the judges could see it. Now it's the 10-point must system. He has to do more of that, getting inside, making sure to work when he gets in there, not letting Moore tie up.
Here we go once again, the fighters having to be separated. It was a very good right hook.
And Moore's really impressing me so far in this fight.
That's, even though he didn't connect, it seems like whenever Moore wants to counterpunch, that's what's getting him out of trouble. Not so much connecting, but just throwing the punches is getting him out of trouble in the corner.
Indeed, and that's what you want to do. You want to punch out of any situation. You can't just run away because then your opponent's going to follow up. They're going to dictate the action. You want to punch out. And also, Tevin Moore, he has the reach and the leverage when he's pushing Hewitt Johnson down. So he's got the reach. He's got better vision right now, and he's using it to his advantage, and that's what you want to do. Try to box on the outside, punch your way out.
This is where Johnson seems to excel.
And Hewitt, what he does a great job of, he doesn't waste real estate. When he gets inside, he works on the inside. A lot of people, they'll just take that opportunity to clinch up. Johnson, it doesn't matter if it's a strong punch. He's always throwing punches, like you see a left to the body right there.
Johnson getting a little more aggressive here over the last minute.
Because he knows he was losing this round.
Yeah. Good body shot inside. And that is the end of round 2. And like you said, for me, Tevin Moore looked the more impressive fighter. He's really using his advantages very, very well. He knows he's got the longer arms. He knows that he can stay outside and maybe not get punished so much. And he's really able to do a good job. We're going to send it over now into the corner of Tevin Moore. Listen in.
When you get your nice combination off, whatever he can do, fade it. 2-3-2, 2-1-2. Your straight punches is beautiful. Remember, when you get close, I need you to work. I need you to hit the body first and come back upstairs. You hear me? You got this. You got this. Give me one big round, baby. One more nice round just to close the show. Just to close the show. We got it.
Beautiful, baby.
Wake up. Wake up, okay? You got this. He's discouraged. He's going to try to come.
Combinations, combinations, combinations.
And most importantly, stay on the outside. He said throw that 1-2-1. That means the jab, right hand jab, or the 2-1-2. Either way, he wants straight shots. He wants him to stay on the outside and not let Hewitt dominate the inside. And also you heard Wesley in the corner of Moore. He said we already got this. He believes he's won the first 2 rounds.
Where do you have it?
Right now, you know, second round was kind of a toss-up. Hewitt Johnson came in the end, but I think Wesley is right. I think they have the first 2 rounds.
I would agree with that. I think Moore's been very, very impressive. And again, it's just experience versus lack of experience, but really, just looking at it, Tevin Moore's an athlete, not just a boxer, he's an athlete.
It's physicality for sure. And also, Hewitt Johnson, he doesn't get a lot of chances to fight guys his size. He has the problem of looking for opponents. He doesn't get a lot of fights until he goes to national tournaments, so it's very likely he hasn't fought in a while.
And I look at the aggression of Johnson as well, because I think his corner knows too that he's going to have to pull off something special here in the 3rd and final round.
Hewitt Johnson, his strategy is clear. He wants to get on the inside and dominate the action, and he wants to take away that reach advantage of Moore.
Moore's done a good job of holding him at bay for the most part. Really working the body now is Johnson.
You know what surprises me is Hewitt Johnson did a great job of that right to the body to Moore in the 2nd round, and it seems to have disappeared in the 3rd.
See Johnson just trying to work inside. That's a nice uppercut.
You got to throw effective blows, though, when you have that opportunity.
That was a good right. And you can kind of see Moore now. Moore almost looks like he's hanging on instead of being the aggressor. Looks like he's trying to stay away, and when he gets in trouble on the inside, he's just trying to cover up.
Heck, I would be too. I'd be weared out fighting Tommy right now. But honestly, yeah, it's clear he's not trying to pivot out. He's not trying to punch his way out. He's just trying to clinch and get through it. He knows this is the third round. He believes he has it in the bag.
Great body shot. Moore is more than content. Corner telling him to box. Has to keep going. Got thrown through the ring there. He's going to get warned.
You're allowed to do that. You just can't be so obvious about it.
That was a great left hand, and down goes Johnson.
And Johnson, that was just, he was off foot. He had his feet squared up.
And that is the end of round 3. Boy, great action there from both guys, Johnson and Moore. We'll step aside for the final decision right after this. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas, as the third and final round just concluded between Tommy Hewitt-Johnson and Tevin Moore. Now, Tim, how did you think that this fight went? Now, we talked about how the second round was pretty close, but we heard in Tevin Moore's corner they think they have it in the bag. How do you see it?
And I think he has it too, honestly. I think he edged out those first two rounds. First round, I think he got cleanly. Second round was pretty close. Third round you could give to Johnson based mostly on activity, but Tevin Moore, I believe, landed the most effective blows.
I would agree with that. I think that Tevin Moore is going to get the victory. And again, both of these guys putting on a show. They're both going to Las Vegas to represent Kansas City. Tommy Hewitt-Johnson in the 108 and Tevin Moore in the listed 114. With the final decision here.
Going to the scorecards tonight, your winner out of the blue corner tonight, give it up for Tevin!
And it is Tevin Moore, your champion. And again, really no surprise.
Fight, so you hear a couple boos, but I mean, you know how we feel right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think both of them were kind of, I don't want to say taking it light because they were both definitely giving it their all, but I think they were trying to avoid hurting their future Kansas City Golden Glove partner.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's kind of a tough spot to be in whenever you're going to try to, to fight somebody that you're going to be teammates with because you're both going. Their right to Las Vegas was not on the line. We are going to see that throughout the rest of the night, though, and really, we've got some great fights coming up. You talked about that 152 fight. That one, Jesse Rivera, Marcus Davidson, is that one going to be the best one?
Yeah, I believe, honestly, that's going to be the most interesting one. That's going to be the one I look at. But when you look at 178 and 201, the heavyweight and the light heavyweight division, I do believe you're going to see the most exciting fights. Chase Calloway, Sergio Flores, that has a recipe for a lot of action. Eddie Guillen, who was on our broadcast 2 years ago, he's going to be facing Deshaun Webster, and that has excitement written all over it. Right now what you're seeing is a walkover championship, Misael Reyes. Kane win from Flaco Ramirez Boxing. He was injured. He didn't make it tonight. Misael Reyes, he's done a good job. He's fighting out at Golds right now, and he will be representing Kansas City at Nationals.
And one thing, we had that a little bit before we came on the air with some of these walkover champions, and really, it kind of throws everything into a loop. It kind of looks discombobulated out here with, maybe not knowing what order we're going to go in. But the right to represent Kansas City, you know all of these guys would want to earn that trip. If given the choice, they'd rather fight.
Yeah, Kane, I know Kane Wynn worked hard for it, and he was in shape. He was ready to go. It's just you can't fight injuries. You can't fight through injuries. You're going to hurt yourself at this age.
And we're going to go now to the 132-pound weight class in the men's open division. This one in the red corner will be Marcel Davidson. In the blue corner will be Demetrius Hubbard. And really, you've got Hubbard, 24 years old, just been fighting for about 3.5 years against Marcel Davidson, a former Golden Gloves champion. Of course, his goal to win nationals in Las Vegas. So kind of the same thing we saw in the last fight. Experience versus non-experience.
Yeah, and Marcel Davidson, you can see him showing it off now. He's got his reigning championship T-shirt on, and he's the brother of Marcus Davidson, who will be seeing 2 fights from now at the 152 class. Marcel fights a lot like his brother. He likes to box on the outside, bit of a boxer-puncher, and we're going to see a good matchup. Demetrius Hubbard, who he likes to also box a little bit, but they really don't run around a whole lot. So it's going to be an interesting strategy game more than necessarily action.
And in the red corner, in the red, white, and blue trunks, will be Marcel Davidson fighting out of Turner Boxing from Kansas City, Kansas. 5 years in the ring, 18 years old. And in the blue corner will be Demetrius Hubbard from Flaco Ramirez from Blue Springs, Missouri. He's 24 years old. He's got 23 fights under his belt. And again, like you said, may not be the most contrasting of styles, but when you get 2 guys who do the same thing pretty well, it's interesting to see who is able to establish their tempo and who is able to kind of establish their dominance early on.
And what it's going to be is Marcel Davidson's speed against Demetrius Hubbard's timing. Marcel is faster. Davidson is faster. But Hubbard, once again, he's got Neil Picard, who I mentioned before.
Yep.
Kansas City Coach of the Year last year. Marcel Davidson, he's from Turner Boxing. His coach, John Brown, multiple-time Coach of the Year. They're kind of the dynasty in this area. So it's the up-and-coming coach versus the Grand Master, and it's going to be a good showing for both.
Here we go, round 1 underway. You can see that left hand always extended from Hubbard, that measuring stick.
And he's trying to see if he can impose his reach right now. And that was one thing I noticed in the semifinals. Marcel Davidson didn't do a great job of using his jab, which is strange for a southpaw. And one thing for the viewers at home, what you want to see when you see an orthodox fighter like Hubbard, that means right-handed, versus a southpaw like Davidson, which is a left-handed fighter, is where are their lead foot? So Hubbard, he got his left foot. He's going to be walking to his left because he wants to stay from Marcel Davidson's left. And Davidson, he wants to go to his right because he wants to stay from Hubbard's right. So it's always interesting to see who wins that foot battle.
There's a good left there from Davidson.
And Hubbard's Sunday punch is the right hand, which is the punch to throw against the southpaw.
I haven't seen him connect with one of those big rights yet. Both guys still kind of in the feeling out stage. That's a good left hook, though, from Davidson. And so far, Davidson really exhibiting some great defense more than the offense.
Well, they're really still feeling each other out. And both of these boys fought last night, so they also just may be tired from dealing out a beating. Yes.
There's Davidson. That was a nice left hand.
Right now, you're not seeing a whole lot of activity on the outside from Hubbard. And when a right-handed fighter is fighting a left-handed fighter, the best thing a southpaw does is take away the jab of a right-handed fighter because it feels so awkward because you're jabbing right into their lead shoulder.
Yeah, usually whenever you see a guy fighting a southpaw, you see that left hand just kind of pumping out like a piston. That's a good right hand, though. Nice counter.
He's taking too much time between punches. He needs to make those combinations instead of one punch at a time.
End of round one. Good action there towards the end. Back with round two after this 30-second timeout. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. Round two upon us here between Marcel Davidson and Demetrius Hubbard. You know, for me, it was tough to score that first round. I think both guys really came on at the end. I think, though, that Davidson kind of imposed himself there towards the last minute and a half.
Definitely a lot more activity. Hubbard needs to just turn it up a little bit. It's not that he's doing anything wrong. It's just that he's not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, this is going to be matching the intensity level.
And if you could just see Hubbard maybe just stepping in with his punches. Right now, he's circling around, but he's not going forward when he punches. If you just step laterally, you're not going to get any closer. You're not going to land those 1-2s. He needs to start stepping in, being a little bit more aggressive with those combinations. That time he tried, but Marcel Davidson just with great footwork.
A nice right hook.
Now, I told you at the beginning, it was going to be Davidson's speed against Hubbard's timing. So far, he hasn't been able to time Davidson, or if he is, he's not throwing for those counters. So what he needs to decide right now, okay, am I loading up for one shot at a time off a combination, or am I going to go forward and try to outwork him? Right now, he's not doing either.
He had a chance there to get forward. He just kind of backed off. But how much does fighting a southpaw throw off your timing for a right-handed fighter?
It throws it off so much. Honestly, I liked fighting a southpaw because it kept me focused, because it's so awkward to fight them. You know, you got to throw right hands. I try to keep in mind to keep throwing a jab. But there are other fighters absolutely hate it. To them, it's just so awkward, unnatural, gets them out of their rhythm just by virtue of the way the man's standing.
So far, like you said, usually when a right-handed fighter is fighting a southpaw, you see the jab pumping out, or at least you try to, but we've seen more jabs so far from Davidson, who's the lefty.
Yeah, and it's much more natural for them. Right-handers, you want to see that jab.
Yeah.
It's just that southpaws do a great job eliminating it. And there you see him doing that footwork. That's really kind of a trademark of the Flaco Ramirez boxing gym, that pivot to the left, pivot to the right, and back again. It's just he's not throwing when he does it.
Nice combination inside.
And see, this is what he needs to be doing. Sometimes if you're having issues trying to feel a guy out, as Davidson's just going after him.
There was that speed.
You need to do like Davidson's doing right now and just go in with a plan. You need to go in and say, this is what I'm going to throw. This is what I'm going to do. And I'll be very interested to hear what Coach Neal says as we go to their corner right now.
We're going to have to keep it tighter. All right, right now, your legs on your pivots, you're going to go off balance right now because your legs are not there. So we're going to, okay? If you're going to pivot, then I need the combinations with those pivots, okay? Need combinations with those pivots. I know, we got to start getting him to go. Look at me. We got to get him to back up, otherwise we're going to just give away the round. We got to start getting him to back up. That's the only way we're going to get this round. If you want to get this round, you got to start getting them to back up. That's the truth.
I'd like to give a shout out to local 249.
You're going to get them to back up, then you got this round. Your decision.
Well, there you heard it. That pivot, he wants combinations. That's exactly what you just said. Maybe that's because that's your old gym.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Coach Neil Picard, he's a great coach. For my money, the best coach in Kansas City, bar none. But I'm a little bit biased. He used to be my coach. And for Davidson, we didn't listen to his corner. But if I'm in his corner, I'm telling him continue controlling the pace with that jab, with those 1-2s. Don't let Hubbard get set. Don't let him get rolling with an offense.
Yeah, Hubbard's really going to have to turn it on here in this third and final round. You can see over there he looked very tired. Have to dig deep and find it here in the third round.
And Davidson in the corner right now, I can hear his brother Marcus shouting out instructions as he rips off another combination. And Marcus, we're going to see in a couple bouts. These two are definitely taking over the Kansas City boxing scene.
And like we saw in the last fight, well, Tevin Moore, the winner of that one, kind of just coasted through the third round, knowing or at least thinking that he had it in the bag. Well, that's not what Marcel Davidson's doing. He's still coming forward. He's still boxing.
Well, that second round was a bit of a toss-up. Hubbard did throw some good shots. Marcel definitely got his in. But I think he's looking to put a stamp on this. And realistically, if he plans to go to nationals, he can't be taking anything for granted. If he wants it, he needs to keep going in that third round, and he needs to be ready to close out a show.
Left hands like that'll help. Great combination to the head.
Come on, Red. Yes.
And you know, Hubbard's not taking a lot of damage. It's just he needs to add a little bit of edge to him, be a little bit more aggressive. He's doing a good job boxing when he does throw. It's just a matter of throwing more. He's put on a good performance thus far, though.
There's a good combo from Hubbard.
And you need to jump on that. That's what I'm talking about. He admired his work a little bit and then just stepped to the right when he could have taken advantage in a bout in which I think he's losing so far.
Yep, I would agree with that. I think Davidson so far is the victor. Not a lot of time left here in the third round.
And Hubbard has shown some great skill. Some of these combinations, I can't explain to you how difficult they are to throw and how natural he's making them look. I would have just liked to seen a little bit more of that. And also in this third round, you're down. You got to press that action a bit.
Round three is winding down here in the 132-pound weight class. Marcel Davidson, Demetrius Hubbard. There's that speed from Davidson. He's shown it off a couple times. Great action through those 3 rounds here in the 132-pound weight class. We'll step aside. We'll be back with the decision. Welcome back in here to Kansas City, Kansas Memorial Hall, the 80th annual Kansas City Golden Gloves Championship fights. Fight we just saw, Marcel Davidson and Demetrius Hubbard at the 132-pound weight division. For me, Marcel Davidson, I think, is going to come out on top. I think, like you said, I think the technical things that Hubbard did were nice. I just don't think he did enough of them.
I agree, too. I believe Hubbard, maybe if he had a little bit more activity, he was working well. It was just a matter of him not being active enough. But then again, there are always 3 judges for a reason.
Yep.
There are always, and actually for amateurs, there are always 5 judges for a reason. But they're always at multiple sides of the ring, always multiple judges. Reason for that, because I'm not always right.
And again, some great action towards the end of that round 3. And once again, we were both correct. Marcel Davidson gets the victory. He is heading to Las Vegas to represent Kansas City in the 2015 national tournament. And I think, for me, he's going to represent very, very well. He's been there before. He knows what to expect.
Yeah, I believe last year was his first year getting to nationals, and he actually had a pretty good showing. He wasn't just one and done. He went out there, he put on a good showing as the crowd gives these two another round of applause. And his brother Marcus, I mean, you can't get a better sparring partner in Kansas City than his own brother. And they have unlimited access to each other. So it's expected that they're probably going to be some of the top dogs in the city.
Well, the fight we have coming up next, the 141-pound weight class. Now, this one features a name that I remember from a couple years ago. One of the better fighters in this area in Bryant Clements, the defending 141-pound champ. He's a guy that when we saw him 2 years ago, didn't have the kind of experience that he has now. He's really come into his own over the last couple years.
For sure. Brian Clements is a guy who I have personal experience in the ring, and over the past years, he's done a great job evolving his style. He used to be kind of a cute boxer, dance around the ring, try to get his shots. Now he stands right in front of his opponent. He tries to use his speed, he tries to use his smarts, and ring generalship to win. He looked a little rusty last night, so he'll certainly be tested by Devon Campbell from Turner Boxing. Campbell had a pretty good fight last night, and he was looking pretty aggressive, so he's going to give the reigning 141 champ a good show.
Campbell, the 2013 champion in the 15 and 16 boys division, graduating up now, fighting grown men like Brian Clements. And like you said, these two guys, Clements in particular, not only does he have the experience fighting here at the Golden Gloves, but he knows what it's like to win. He knows what it takes to get to the national tournament. I think that experience is really, really invaluable, as Campbell is already in the ring. He's got the all-black trunks with the gold lettering. Red flames are on there. Goodness gracious, those are nice.
Yeah, they're quite snazzy.
Campbell fighting out of Turner Boxing, and Clements out of Topeka, Kansas.
And the Topeka Golden Glove team, they're called the Golden Gloves, don't get it wrong, there's not a Topeka Golden Gloves tournament. But the Topeka Golden Glove team, they used to have multiple champions or multiple championship fights during these Golden Gloves. Now their team has shrunk a little bit. Brian Clements really carries the flag for that team. He's really that torchbearer, and he takes that seriously, especially seeing as this may be the last time you see Brian Clements fighting in the Kansas City Golden Gloves. He's thinking about going pro. He's got himself a kid right now, and I think he's looking at the pro ranks. He's looking at the paydays, and I think he wants to go out on top. I think he wants to win himself a national tournament, but he's not going to do that unless he wins tonight.
He's got a good chance to do it, but like you said, he has to go through Devon Campbell. Clements in the all-red trunks with the white tank top. Campbell once again in the black trunks with the gold lettering, bearing his last name in the red flames and the black tank top. This is the 141-pound weight class. We've got 4 more bouts for you this evening. And here we go with the first of 3 rounds.
And we got another Southpaw versus Orthodox match. So everything I told you during the last bout, just remember it.
Remember it.
Yeah. I hope you were taking notes.
And we'll see how Clements is able to deal with that southpaw stance of Devon Campbell.
And I was talking to Clements last night, and he really feels like he started to develop some power over the last couple years. And I can see his biceps right now looking a little bit swole. Yeah, I know, right? And so Campbell, I haven't seen a whole lot of him. I've seen him in this tournament, and he's looked good so far, but this is his first real test.
Doesn't look like we've necessarily skipped the feeling out phase that we had in the last fight between Marcel Davidson and Demetrius Hubbard, but both guys a little more active here in the early going.
Yeah, Clements likes to throw a lot of punches, and if you get in on him, he wants to get you out, and he gets you out by force. And Campbell, I don't know if maybe he just hasn't been smartened up to the Kansas City ways yet, but he's kind of a newcomer to the Open Championship fights, and he's really looking to make a statement this year.
Well, you know, if you're going to toss your name on your trunks, you better be able to back it up. Well, so far, Campbell's avoided those big shots from Clemens.
And see how Clemens counters the second that Campbell throws? What that does to a fighter, what it does to your opponent. If you're countering his jab, it's almost like, you know, with the mouse and you buzz them when they try to get the cheese. Basically, it's negative reinforcement. You're teaching them, don't throw your jab because something's coming at you every single time. And it won't necessarily take effect in this round, but maybe the second round, the third round. It may get Campbell to stop throwing that right hand.
Midway through the first round of the 141-pound championship fight. A good shot. And there's that jab. We've seen Clemens throw more jabs against this southpaw than we have the other two orthodox fighters that fought against the southpaw.
Indeed, like Clemens has plenty of experience. He's been doing this for years, and he knows how to handle himself in the ring against any style.
A good left hand from Clemens.
They're just trading hooks now.
As we close out round one here, the 141-pound fight. We're back with round two right after this. Welcome back in here to Kansas City, Kansas at Memorial Hall, the 80th annual Kansas City Golden Gloves Championship fights, the longest running sporting event here in Kansas City. And after round one, at least for me, I think Brian Clemens looked a little more active. He landed the heavier shots. In this round, what do you need to see from Devon Campbell to kind of get back in and maybe square things up?
The thing that Clemens has done well is he's countered all of Campbell's action. So what Campbell needs to do a good job of is once he throws his combinations, he either needs to move his body or move his head. Either do some footwork or do some head bobbing. Just get out of the way of those counters, basically.
A thumping body shot.
And see right there, that's what I'm talking about. He got his shots and then he circled away.
And like you said before, this may be the last time we see Brian Clemens fighting in the Golden Gloves, looking at the professional ranks as maybe the next step in his boxing career. There's Campbell with some nice counters. A nice two-punch.
Clemens needs to find a way to slow down Campbell's offense. He usually does a good job with that just through ring generalship, just through the movement of his body. So maybe he needs to start implementing that a little bit, kind of tone it down, because the less activity there is, the better it is for Clemens. One thing I will tell you he's struggling with is the leverage of Campbell. Campbell is he's kind of a thin guy, but he's so tall and has those long legs. He's able to get a lot of leverage on all those punches. So even if they're not landing super hard, he's getting a lot of force on it, and it's getting Clemens off his balance.
And Clemens does not look as comfortable as he did in round one.
And I can hear John Brown, the coach of Campbell, yelling at Campbell to back him up. He wants to wear down Clements. And I will say, Clements does look a little bit tired right now. It always takes more energy out of you to get hit than it is to throw punches. And he's been hit with a couple clean shots here and there.
A couple good body shots from Campbell. That is the end of round 2. Well, now let's go over to the blue corner with Brian Clements. Let's take a listen as to what adjustments he's going to make for round 3.
I don't understand it. Why you hit and you look? Why don't you hit him, go forward, and stay? You gotta be determined in this round. You gotta be determined. You gotta stalk him. You gotta wear him down, up and down. If he ain't hurting you, then you go forward. All right? It's close. You gotta have this round. This round, Brian. You need this round. You gotta go forward. Come right back. Be first. Don't wait on him. Don't wait on him. Stay busy. Keep that jab going. Seconds out.
And if you couldn't hear that, Coach Raul Barone, he was telling Campbell, what, are you hurt? Why are you staggering around from one punch at a time? You need to be more aggressive. You need to hit them. And I kind of agree with him. He needs to turn it up. He lost that second round.
I would agree. I think they said it at the very, very end. We have to have this round. Some of it might be fatigue. You said it in the second round. He did not look as fresh as he did at the beginning of the fight. Now, that may be due to the fact that there's been a lot of fighting over the last couple days.
And it does take a toll on you. You wake up sore and then you remember, oh no, I have another fight. And so sometimes if you put in that extra effort, it can bite you come finals. And even last night, Clements said he didn't think he looked great. Maybe he's just having an off weekend.
Brian, stop, wait.
Brian, go for it, Brian!
Stay in there. Walk him down, Brian, walk him down. Work.
There you go. Now stay in there.
Here it is.
Nice
Come on,
counter.
Brian, go for it!
That jab to the body. Look. Brian, don't wait.
Go forward now.
When Clements has been the aggressor, he's been landing the cleaner shots. He's been dominating those exchanges. It's really a matter of who takes control of the tempo at this point. I don't think either really have an answer for the other's offense, so it's just about who's got more.
A couple of heavy shots landed by both fighters.
1-2, Brian, 1-2.
Come on, Brian, go! Quit wait!
Here's corner saying go. They want him to move forward.
Turn up.
Body! Gotta want it, Brian! Work, Brian, work!
A lot of good exchanges. I think Campbell may be behind in this round, and in my opinion, this round determines the fight.
This last few seconds here of this third round are really going to determine a lot.
Come on, Brian!
30 seconds.
See if Campbell is able to land a couple shots.
Push him back, Brian! Come on, Brian, push it now!
And in the closing seconds, I know what you people are saying at home. You people are saying, why don't they just go all out in these closing seconds? Why don't they just go for it? You know what, honestly, after 3 nights of fighting, this is the 3rd night in a row, okay? You try going all out in that last round. They're really coming to the finish line right here, and they both think they have it in the bag. So now they've left it up in the judge's decision.
This one will be a very, very interesting decision. Back with the decision after this 30-second timeout. Stay with us. Back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. The 141-pound matchup has concluded. Brian Clements and Devon Campbell. Boy, this one's going to be close. The first two fights, we kind of thought that we really had the champion in mind, and we were both right. Well, great action from Clements. Threw a lot of power punches in the first round. Campbell countered in the second round, I think, by winning that one. Where do you have it?
I have it as a toss-up, honestly.
No idea.
I would say, you know, whoever wins if I thought I knew. Honestly, I don't know. That third round is going to determine who won this fight. And neither of them really went all out for it because they were afraid of getting popped.
And I think Clements won the first part of round 3, and I thought Campbell won the last half. So who knows? Thank goodness it's not up to us.
Now, in case you're wondering at home, there are no draws in the amateurs.
Well, at this point, there can't be. They'd have to go to a punch-off because the trip to Vegas is on the line.
They just tie each other up in a phone booth and they just go at it. And it's a careful perusal of the scorecards at this point. Long time for the decision to come in. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's a split, maybe 3-2.
It is going to be a very, very close decision. It was a very, very close fight. And Bryant Clements is your winner, defends his 141-pound title over Devon Campbell. That was a very, very good fight.
It was a very smart fight and a lot of strategy going on there. And I hope you people stay with us through the rest of this broadcast because there were a lot of subtle things in that fight that you may not see in this next fight because it's Marcus Davidson versus Jesse Rivera, and it's about to tear this house down.
This one is the fight that you've been looking forward to. Both of these guys, their resumes are absolutely flawless. We've got national runners-up. We've got regional Golden Gloves champion. We've got two-time Golden Gloves champion. We've got a last year as an amateur boxer. Unbelievable. Marcus Davidson and Jesse Rivera. Marcus Davidson, the older brother of Marcel Davidson, who we saw a couple fights earlier. Why does this fight intrigue you so much?
I'll tell you why, because the last 2 years, Marcus Davidson's been doing his thing. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you right after this break.
Welcome back in here to Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas, the 80th annual Kansas City Golden Gloves Championship fights. We just saw one of the best fighters ever to come out of Kansas City, Cam F. Awesome. That's right, I didn't misspeak. His last name is Awesome. He's an awesome dude. He's an awesome fighter, the captain of the U.S. national team. Really just an all-around great guy, a 12-time national champion.
And you're probably going to see him in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and you may see him in the broadcast booth during our heavyweight fight tonight. But right now, we're focused on the 152-pound men's open division, and let me tell you why I'm excited about it. It's because out of the red corner, you got Marcus Davidson. He's dominated this division in Kansas City over the last 2 years, but a lot of that has to do with Jesse Rivera out of whatsoever in the blue corner hasn't been around. He's been moving around, going through some things. Now he's decided he wants one last run before he goes pro, and he's going to have his last run here at the Kansas City Golden Gloves as Marcus Davidson gets introduced.
Davidson in the white trunks with the silver and gold trim, and Rivera in the black trunks with the white trim. And like you said, Rivera turning professional most likely after this year. He would like nothing better than a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada. Marcus Davidson watched his younger brother Marcel fight earlier tonight. His motivation is to match what his brother did and get a victory. Again, two great boxers, and we're going to watch some awesome fighting.
And Marcus Davidson, he is the two-time Kansas City Golden Gloves champ. And he's got size, he's got athleticism. He really does have all the tools you want in a boxer. Jesse Rivera, though, he's been doing this since he's a kid. He comes from the Rivera family. They've all had experience on the national scene. Jesse Rivera, Nico Rivera, Ray Rivera, all of them great boxers. And Jesse, he's going to do a great job tonight, win or lose.
Davidson from Turner Boxing, Rivera from Whatsoever.
Right now they're feeling each other out. They want first blood, so not putting themselves out too much. They want to land the first big shot. Nice check hook.
See the ferocity that these two are throwing with here early on.
And Marcus Davidson, he fights a lot like his brother, a bit of a boxer puncher. Jesse Rivera, he wants to come on the inside, throw a lot of hooks and uppercuts.
Yeah, there you go. Go to the body.
There was one of those big hooks.
Go to that body next, Jess. Bring it up, too.
Now the biggest advantage, besides his youth and that he hasn't taken time off, is they exchange heavy here.
Wow.
The biggest advantage for Davidson that you can see off the bat, he's got that size. He's going to dominate the outside. If Rivera doesn't get inside, he's not going to win this.
Oh boy, you heard that one. Great action here in the first round.
You know, there's an expression, it's called high-speed chess, and that's what you're seeing right now. Two guys at a very talented high level of boxing trying to figure themselves out, trying to figure each other out in this short 3-round fight.
You can see more orthodox styles too in this one. We've seen a southpaw, at least one, in every single fight so far.
So all he's going to do is run. He's running.
Great first round of action here in the 152-pound division.
Come on, lead off. Right, you got him in the corner. There you go.
A big left to the head of Rivera. Have to get separated.
Do it again. Same thing, Jeff. Back with your jab and come up. Lead off, Jeff. Lead off. He's going to run.
And Rivera is just reaching for those punches at this point. He's having some trouble with the height of Davidson as he gets in some hooks.
Davidson is tagging at the end of that first round. What a round for Davidson. Back with the second right after this. Welcome back into Memorial Hall. The first round was as advertised here in the 152-pound weight division. Marcus Davidson and Jesse Rivera. Some great exchanges, some great flurries. How do you have that round, Tim?
I have it for Davidson. I think he did a great job boxing on the outside. Jesse still hasn't figured out his height quite yet, so Rivera needs to work his way inside and find a way to deal with that check left hook.
Almost looked like Rivera was so caught off guard by the speed and power that he almost looked like he was overshooting and how he was punching up to try to get at Davidson because he's noticeably shorter.
He was reaching a bit in. You got to get in one of two ways. You can either work your way in through a combination like he's doing right now, or what you got to do is you got to wait for your opponent to throw and you got to counter. Jesse, he's trying to force it so far, or at least he did in the first round. Early in the second, he's looking a lot better.
Another good shot from Rivera.
And if I'm in Rivera's corner, what I'm telling him is to work his way in and use a lot of head movement. You got to be ready for that left hook.
Great shot to the head from Davidson.
He's going to run. He's going to run. He's scared, Jeff. Come on.
Now Davidson at the same time, he's got a little bit of the tall fighter's curse in that you get such a good look at your opponent and you're far enough away where you tend to drop your hands because you just want to be able to see what he's doing. And a lot of the times that can open you up to a hook, to an uppercut, to any punch, especially when someone's coming in like Rivera.
Rivera working inside. 2 shots land for Davidson, a third.
And that had Jesse wobble for a split second.
Great right uppercut down the inside.
And if you were expecting an 8 count on that punch, referee Mike Curley, he's one of the ones who lets people work it out in the ring. He ain't calling an 8 count unless somebody's about to get hurt. He lets the boxers box.
Now Rivera's inside. That's where he has to do his damage with that height difference.
And Rivera's looking a little tired right now. Like I said before, it takes more energy to get hit than it is to throw a punch.
And he definitely got hit. He got tagged a couple times.
Get on him, Jess. Get on him.
More great action. Well, so far it's as advertised. You were excited and you had good reason to be.
And it looks like Rivera's starting to get in a bit of a rhythm. He's gotten a lot more aggressive in this second round. Davidson so far has thrown the strongest punch of the fight here in this round. But Rivera starting to get inside, not getting caught as much on those counters. Second I say that, he eats a big jab. And I love the way Davidson moves his head for a big man. For 152, he's very large. And he's able to just weave in and out as he gets behind Rivera. And he's smiling. He's smiling as he goes to the corner.
Well, let's take a look inside the corner of Jesse Rivera and see what he needs to do for the round.
Can't do that no more. You let him win the last half of that round, but now you got to get to work now. You hear me? It's probably even out right now. You hear me? So now we got to work. But after you punch, you got to move, man. Don't stand in front of him. Because he's hitting you with that hook. You hear me? And you can see that shit coming all day. You hear me? Come on, man. You got to give me some work this round. You hear me? Come on, baby. Keep using that jab. Come with the right body to the body, then come back up soon with it. You hear me? How you feel? Huh? Work off that jab, man. Like I said, after you get through punching, you got to get under, because he's standing straight up.
Well, Tim, translate for us a little bit.
Basically what he's saying is, when you work your way in, be ready for the other man to work. Be ready for that check left hook, which been tagging him. He said, work your way with the jab, move your head, and that's exactly what you got to do against Davidson. Let's see if Rivera does it.
Let's see if Rivera can find a way inside. Another big left hook from Davidson.
He didn't move his head. He gets tagged. That's exactly the playbook of Davidson. He's going to counter him all round, all night, and he's feeling confident right now.
I was about to say, look at that footwork, look at that face. He's got a smile on it. There's an old adage. Go ahead.
I'll tell you right now, Davidson, if I'm in his corner, I think I won those first 2 rounds. Yep. I say don't do anything stupid. Catch him as he's coming in. Don't initiate anything.
Well, the old adage goes, pride comes before a fall. In boxing, that can come quite literally. Davidson so far is backing up.
And once again, this is on the 10-point must system. No longer doing the point per punch. It's whoever wins this round wins a round. And whoever you think won that second round, which I would edge towards Davidson.
My goodness, look at that. The left hook doing all sorts of damage. Boy, Rivera's got a tough chin.
And at this point, I think Rivera needs a momentum stopping combination. He needs a moment. He may even need an 8 count to try to pull this out to have a chance to win it.
I think Davidson's going to have to become wobbled. You have to do it on the inside.
And you want to talk about a vet who's looking to take back the throne. That's Rivera right now.
Exchanging punches. Great round 3. Well, that left hook from Davidson is just lethal.
And Davidson ain't new to this either. I make it sound like Rivera's the only one who's been around for a few years. Davidson, I remember him when he was his short little prepubescent self, just a child running around boxing at the age of, I think, 9 or 10. And he's grown up into a real man. Woo! But he has plenty of experience, and that's why he lands shots like that.
Davidson just teeing off now.
And Jesse Rivera, he's going to have to use all experience from his 100-plus fights, from his 85 wins, from his national appearances, from his Kansas City Golden Glove championships. He's going to have to pull it all out in these closing seconds.
Rivera has fought a Warriors fight so far. In the middle of the ring. And that is it, boy. You talk about a great fight. We just saw one. Back after this with the decision. Annual Kansas City Golden Gloves. Great shots landed from Davidson. That left hook was lethal. Rivera did a great job just hanging in there and countering as best he could. Boy, you were excited about this fight, and you had a very good reason to be. That was fantastic.
I think both these fighters lived up to the hype. You got more than your money's worth in these 3 rounds, in these 9+ minutes. These 2 boxers put it all on the line, and you saw this is what you're going to see at Nationals. This was a Nationals level fight that you got to see here locally in Kansas City. This was a great matchup.
Marcus Davidson with that left hook, boy, he teed off a couple times. He's landed the biggest shots, not only of the fight, but also of the night so far. Of course, we've got some of the big boys upcoming, but do you see it as Marcus Davidson getting the win?
I think it's no question Davidson's night.
We'll find out here momentarily.
Going to the scorecards tonight, your winner out of the red corner.
And there it is. Marcus Davidson is the winner in the 152-pound weight class. Rivera put up a heck of a fight. Took a lot of shots straight on the chin, but Davidson was just too much.
He was too much, and he had the size, the athleticism. More than that, he knew how to use it. It's not Rivera's fault that he was facing a guy who physically should not be a 152. In a couple years from now, Davidson's going to fill out. He's going to be moving to middleweight, 165. But this year, Rivera, he just faced a tough style, and styles make fights.
Exactly. You know, Rivera did such good work in the first round. And the second round had kind of trouble getting inside. With a guy like Davidson, when he finds his tempo, how hard is it to get a guy like that out of rhythm and try to shake him up?
It's difficult because Davidson has supreme focus. He's going to work on the outside, and he's going to catch you coming in. So it feels like a lose-lose situation. Do I stay out or do I try to go in? Either way, you're eating the left.
Well, let's move our attention now to the 165-pound weight class. Fighting out of the red corner from Authentic Boxing, Calvin Metcalf, a former 165-pound Golden Gloves champion. He knows what it takes to get the victory. And Jacob Stops from Haskell Boxing by way of Pryor, Oklahoma, making the trip up north here to Kansas City. Only 12 fights. He has lost just 1 of them. This was what was interesting to me. Now, a lot of these guys, boxing kind of encompasses their life. Going professional is their dream. He's a smarter man than I am, a bachelor's of science in environmental science. That communications degree does not stand up to that.
No, it does not. Jacob Stops, I mean, he's been around 3 years. He's only had 12 fights. He obviously has something going on in him. Calvin Metcalf in the red corner, much more experience. He's the defending champion, and he had a surprising showing last year at Nationals. I heard very good things about him, and it's definitely going to be an all-action fight because Metcalf, He ain't too pretty. He just comes straight in.
Well, there you saw it, like a bull in a china shop, just got right after Stops. Maybe trying to bully the new guy a little bit. Stops is in the blue trunks with the white trim. Metcalf in the black with white trim.
And for those of you wondering, why is somebody with 12 fights fighting somebody with 55? After you have 10 amateur bouts, then you go into the open division, which means anyone 10 fights or more, you're open to fight.
Stops, the 2012 novice champion in this weight division. Good work on the inside. And you can kind of see the experience. Metcalf's a boxer. Now, maybe not, the boxer as far as, beauty goes. He looks more like a little bit of a brawler, but Stops just doesn't look as comfortable in the ring.
Well, he wants to stay on the outside, pump that jab. He's got the size. Metcalf has the style that leads itself to be boxed. Metcalf is boxable, and this is 165 pounds. This is the last weight class that I fought in, and if I was fighting Metcalf, I'd be using that jab, trying to catch him with the right hand as I get in, tie up or pivot when he gets on the inside, and it looks like that's what Stops is doing.
Metcalf so far hasn't gotten tagged as he's worked his way in. Good shot there from Stops. Good body shots with the right hand from Metcalf.
Yeah, these two are just grinding it out. Like I said, Metcalf does not have that pretty style, but it's effective. But, Stops has the kind of size where he just may be able to land shots from these weird, awkward angles. Inexperience can be an advantage. When you have an unconventional style, an unpolished style, it can catch people off guard.
Midway through the first round here in the 165-pound weight division. Got a couple more bouts coming at you this evening from Memorial Hall. So far, not the energy of the last fight. However, Metcalf has started to land some good shots.
It's a lot slower paced, a lot less stylized, a lot less polished. I'm trying to say it in a nice way.
Yeah.
It's in-your-face action. There's nothing, you ever met somebody where it's like, that's all there is. What you see is what you get.
Yep.
With these two guys, what you see is what you get. It's not a whole lot of style, but they're still putting in just as much effort. They're still putting in just as much thought in their strategy.
Metcalf with a big right. He's teeing off in the corner. And that is the end of round one. I'd give that round to Metcalf. We'll find out more from Tim after this. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. Tim, I said before we went to break that Calvin Metcalf, at least for me, got that first round. How do you see it?
I saw it the same way. I think he was the more aggressive fighter. He was landing the more effective shots. And that's to say, it could have gone Stops' way, but I don't think he was being the ring general that you need to be when you're backing up through a round.
Here we go with round two. Let's see what kind of adjustments. If you were in Stops' corner, what kind of adjustments would you have made, knowing most likely that you're down a round?
Well, it looks like his corner said to come out swinging. I would say something similar, honestly. I'd say pump out that jab consistently. Before your opponent punches, I want you punching. Force him to reset. Stop his combinations before they start. And then just keep moving, and you hope he has the kind of stamina to keep that up. Now, I will say the one problem with boxing and moving through a 3-round fight, you're going to tire yourself out. You need to know when to find your spots to stop, throw a right hand or a left hook, find a way to stop the guy's momentum so he doesn't feel like he could just walk forward freely the whole time.
Well, for those of us that have never been in the ring, Stops has only been in 12 times. Comparatively for Metcalf, that's not all that much. How difficult is it to kind of assess a guy's style and make adjustments on the fly in the middle of a round?
It's pretty difficult. I mean, some people, it lends to some people better than others. You know, being able to adjust is as much a talent as speed or power. And I will say, 12 fights, stops, he doesn't even have a style yet, okay? He doesn't have a style yet. He doesn't yet fully know what he's doing. He's got an idea right now. But Metcalf, at this point, he's kind of set in his ways. Maybe you'll see him fine-tune himself, but this is what he does. Stops could be a completely different fighter in 2 years.
Just exchanging here in the corner.
But I will say he's presenting himself very well for a man of his experience level.
Really, the action so far in this round has been on the inside, and that's where Metcalf, with that size disadvantage, is going to take advantage.
And I will say, Stops, I mean, you look at him physically. He looks like he has most of the tools. Maybe he needs to just polish up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more speed. You'd like to see that. There's not much he can do about it. But he was the 2012 novice champion. He's been around here and there. And I think he's going to look to take it as far as he can in boxing. I think it's just a matter of him getting more reps, getting more fights.
Both fighters landing some good shots in that last exchange.
And this is some pretty good action. I think the crowd's a little worn out from the last fight. But this is good action.
It's a great uppercut. Stops and started to eat some of those shots.
Metcalf is a machine.
He's not stopping. That is the end of round number 2. This is what I've always loved to hear. I'd love to get your take on this. Let's go into the blue corner if Jacob Stops.
One more minute, I'm gonna stop it. Okay? Sit up. I'm gonna stop it in a minute. You got 1 minute to show me you got some, I'm gonna stop it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I'm gonna stop it too.
All right, well.
You got to start throwing. You got to beat him to the punch. It's like you're letting him throw, then you're throwing. You're letting him throw, then you're throwing. Beat him, be first.
In your nose, out your mouth.
Okay? You be first. I want to see you be first the whole
You're
time.
staggering over the place. Keep your feet underneath you. Throw some throw punches. I'm gonna stop it if I see you do not throw anymore. Okay?
Yes, coach.
If I see another combo on him land on you, I'm not gonna stop him.
Those are some. That's motivation right there. That's an ultimatum. 1 minute. If you don't see anything,
he's going to stop the
gonna
fight.
Stop it.
And that's exactly what the coach should do. Haskell's got great boxing coaches, a great gym, and that's exactly what you need to tell him. You need to be honest with him. As
Right
that was more of a slip.
Yeah.
But that happens from weak legs, tired legs. And Metcalf is going to try his best to take advantage because Metcalf is the kind of guy you just hate to fight. He comes in like a maniac. He just throws these wide, crazy shots, and he hits pretty hard.
I'll be quite honest with you. I was not ready to catch anybody falling into our lap.
No.
I was not ready.
I wore my nice shirt today. I did not want blood, sweat, or tears on it. But I will say what you also heard in the corner was be first. He's got to stop the momentum of Metcalf. He can't be trading with him. He's got to be stopping this guy's combos. And I'll give it to Stops.
Yeah.
See, you said, you know, that's motivation telling him you may stop it. For a lot of fighters, it's motivation to let your opponent maybe beat you up a little bit because you don't want to be in there that third round. Stops is showing no sign that he wants this stop. Stops is showing that he wants to finish this on his terms.
It almost looked ready like
and
that.
It looks
there
like
it is. And Metcalf is celebrating over in his corner.
And the ref is giving an 8 count for safety, but the coach has already brought in the towel. He got up on the apron. It's going to be a win for Metcalf.
Metcalf, like you said, just kind of got in there, started throwing some wild and crazy shots. Stops really had no answer for it whatsoever.
And that was a good job by the Haskell boxing coach stopping that. I mean, and it's not that it's not that Stops was looking awful. It's not like he was taking a terrible beating that I haven't seen before. I've seen guys finish like that. I've seen guys finish worse than that, but he wasn't going to win.
We're going to stay here for the official decision. Again, that fight stopped between Calvin Metcalf and Jacob Stops. You heard it in the corner after round 2 was the fact that after 1 minute they didn't see anything from their fighter. They were going to throw in the towel. We've got 2 more bouts upcoming, the 178-pound division. Sergio Flores and Chase Calloway, both of those guys with impeccable records, impeccable resumes as well. We're going to step aside for a quick break before we get the official decision.
Did you know that a wish granted gives a child and their family a chance to feel normal, stress-free, and may improve their condition?
Did you know it costs an average of $7,500?
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by TKO out of the red corner.
Welcome back into Memorial Hall. Your winner by technical knockout is Calvin Metcalf from Authentic Boxing. The first TKO of the night. We've seen scorecards for the rest of the bouts, so he will be headed to Las Vegas. And again, like you said, it was kind of a dominating fight for Metcalf. Stops just didn't look like he had the experience, didn't have the ringsmanship that Metcalf had, and that's really what led to the dominating victory.
Yeah, and Metcalf is the type of guy, you watch him fight and you are frustrated. As a fellow boxer in his weight class, you get frustrated because you say, I can beat that guy. There's no way I can't box that guy, because there's a lot of holes in his style. But you know what? He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He just keeps coming at you like a monster, and he keeps going with those thudding hooks, and he just broke down Stops. And if you're going to see people break down, it's in these weight classes. We're getting to the big boys right now. 165 we just had. Up next, 178 pounds.
Sergio Flores in the red corner out of Turner Boxing, was second in national silver gloves, sports a 37-3 record, almost spotless. And fighting out of the blue corner from Team Calloway is Chase Calloway, the number 7 ranked fighter in the elite men's division, a 5-time junior national champion, a 110-21 record. They had 2 great resumes.
Yeah, they do. And I'll tell you, Sergio Flores, excuse me, he is he's doing quite well for himself. He was pretty good at nationals. He was in 3rd place last year, and he won Kansas City Golden Gloves last year. Chase Calloway, I will say that, 110-21. A lot of that has come recently in more recent bouts. I think he was a guy who started when he was a kid. He started in his diapers. Chase Calloway ain't new to this. You can tell by his record, over 100 wins, much less fights. But I think he's had a little bit of trouble adjusting to the bigger boxers. I think he's had trouble adjusting over the last 2 years to having to fight guys who have as much experience as him. Because when he was 15 and younger, when he was 16 and younger, he was winning everything nationally.
Yeah. He was actually in Tallinn, Estonia recently against several international fighters. Lost in the finals to the home boxer from Estonia. That was this last December. We talk about a guy that is well-traveled and, you know, in the family, like you said, he started out when he was a kid. But these two, maybe combined, have 2 of the best resumes that we're going to see.
And I'll tell you a little bit about their styles right now. It's a lot like that.
UFC is what it is.
Sergio Flores, he's coming straight for you, and he's looking to take your head off. Chase Calloway, he wants to box, but he wants to get his shots in at the same time. He's not going to just run away.
And there it is, another takedown. Flores in the black trunks with the red trim, if you couldn't figure that out already, and Calloway in the blue and white trim. Like you said, he is not trying to disguise anything.
No, he is what you get. Chase Calloway, though, I will say, he's shown a bit of a weakness for some hard-nosed fighters, some very physical fighters. So if there was a style that was going to face off against Chase, that if I as a coach would want to face against Chase, it would be a guy like Sergio Flores.
It says, here are my hands. Let's do this.
Yes.
If you're Callaway, how do you approach a guy like this? How do you approach a guy that's literally going to put his head down and get after you?
Clinch on the inside because you don't know what he's going to do. And then try not to let him get inside. So you jab, you move. Hopefully you can hit him with some clean shots, and it'll discourage him to the point where he's not just bull rushing in. The big thing is you got to counter. That's how you discourage somebody. If you don't want them punching you, you got to counter their combos. And right now, Chase is doing a great job just using movement to avoid the punches.
Is it almost a strategy for Callaway to kind of let Flores just run himself out, maybe get him a little tired with all the movement that he's doing, and then maybe you come on strong later?
I don't think he's trying to tire Flores out. I would hope at this point these guys are in condition. I think what he's trying to do is calm the fight down. He doesn't want it to get into a slugging match, so he's trying to defuse it a little bit.
Big left there from Flores.
And see, Chase had some good punches in those exchanges, but it's just the physicality of Flores kept him up against the ropes, and it kind of pushed Callaway back.
There was a good left from Callaway. Getting towards the latter stages here of the first round. I think once you get past kind of the shock and awe of Sergio Flores, you can really tell that Callaway is just a boxer. That was a good shot on the inside. He's landing combinations left and right from Callaway to end the first round. What great action is we'll send it to a timeout. Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. Boy, the end of that first round put a big smile on your face. Some great action just right up close and personal.
You want to ask, how do you keep a guy like Flores from coming at you? By throwing hooks like Chase Callaway did in the last 10 seconds of that round. That was textbook.
They cleaned him a couple times, and here comes Flores once again.
And I will say, not just because of that last 10-second flurry, but legitimately I did believe Callaway won the first round. I thought he boxed Flores very well. And Flores, I think he's using his aggression to compensate for a lack of effective punching.
Oh, that's a big left hook to the side of the head. And so far, Flores has put on the aggressive show, but Callaway's the one that's landing the big shots.
You know, if I'm in Flores' corner, what I do is I say, look, Callaway has walked himself to the ropes pretty much on a whim every time Flores wants him to. The biggest problem is Flores just comes in with so much steam, he ends up falling into the ropes himself or driving into a left hook. See, that's what he needs to do. He needs to get right in front of Callaway and be willing to try to just stand there and work. Not try to bully him, try to box him on the inside.
Does it almost seem like Flores goes in kind of almost without a plan? He just gets in there to get in there?
I think he's looking to beat up Callaway. I mean, he looks at this like he's the bigger guy. He's a harder puncher. He can take a good hit, obviously. I think he's looking to beat up Callaway and land and grind him down. And also, power. As Flores is trying to show his off.
Yep.
As much as power is a great asset, is something you can't teach, it also can be one of your biggest weaknesses. There have been plenty of fighters, I could list off names of people who just rely on their power. They're looking for that one shot. And sometimes that gets you wild, like Flores is right now.
Well, he's got the mouth and nose of Callaway bloodied. A good combination from Callaway. Flores responds. Getting towards the end here of the second round. That was a big right to the chops. Callaway punches out of it beautifully. Look at this. There's a big left.
Let's go.
Wow, what a second round. Let's go into the blue corner and take a listen to the team Callaway.
Right now, your right hand, left hook is going hard. He's sucking air. You hear me? He's sucking fucking air. Don't ain't for you. He's tired. Hey, look here. You got to make your fucking fight, Chase. Hey, this is it. 3 minutes, baby boy. Hey, if you want to be it, you go get it. You win this round, you win the fight. I'm telling you. Deep breath. Deep breath. Feel good? Yep. Okay, keep touching with your hard jab and bring it right hand, left hook, or left uppercut, right hand. Okay, it's easy, but you got to fucking make your fight. Don't put your hands up if you're there. You ain't got to move nowhere. Okay? Hands up, he's going to move back, you ready to go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 1, 2, 5, 2.
Well, there you heard, you really translate for us, Tim, once again. I heard combinations, 1, 2, 3.
What he's saying is jab, right hand, left hook, and he wants him to pivot off of that. He wants him to stop trying to protect himself against the ropes. He wants him to move off the ropes. When Flores gets inside, Callaway needs to just get out of there. He's got the footwork to stay away from him for the next 3 rounds. It's a matter of if he'll use it.
Where do you have this fight scored as?
Right now I have it 1-1. I think the winner of this round wins the fight. I think Callaway has the ability to box Flores for 3 minutes, but I think Flores is just looking to beat up Callaway. It's going to be Callaway's stamina and his character in the ring. That's what it's going to come down to. Because we already know he's much more polished than Flores.
Yes. Both of these fighters selling out here in the 3rd round. A trip to Las Vegas on the line and a chance to represent Kansas City in the national tournament. Flores is just really winding up for a lot of these shots. That leave him open to counterpunching?
Oh, wide open. But he's breaking down Callaway right now.
It's a good right.
You know, we heard in the corner of Callaway, his father, his head trainer, Rob Callaway, former heavyweight title contender. He was saying, Flores, he's sucking wind. He's tired in there. I don't think he's tired. He gets energized by these punches.
He doesn't look tired at all, especially from that big left hand. That was a huge right.
Callaway, he's got to be throwing punches, then getting out. Right now, he's just letting Flores get inside, and he's still moving out effectively, but he needs to get his combo off before Flores gets his punches. But at this point, he may just be a little bit too battered and bruised.
Battered and bruised is a good way to describe it. A bloody nose sporting for Chase Callaway. That was a good right.
I'm telling you right now, win, lose, or draw, nobody wants to fight Flores.
No.
You're going to feel like you're in a car wreck the next morning.
Callaway feels like he's been in a car wreck right now. It's a good left. Big left-right hook.
And I'll give these two a round of applause.
That was very good action towards the end of that third round. Chase Calloway, Sergio Flores putting on a show here at Memorial Hall. We'll have the decision right after this. Back to Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. That 178-pound fight. Sergio Flores and Chase Calloway. A lot of great action in that one. What a great, great fight.
And it was Calloway's boxing ability versus Flores' physicality. Me personally, I think Flores was able to take it.
I think Flores landed the bigger shots. I think Calloway, you know, obviously was a little more polished, as you saw from the get-go, as Flores was just trying to ram his style down his throat. But I think you're right. I think Flores kind of dominated the fight. I don't think Calloway was able to box out enough. I don't think he was able to get off enough punches to compete with the kind of shots that Flores was landing. We'll get the official decision here momentarily, and then we'll have one of the most colorful personalities here ringside with us. We'll wait. We'll reveal that in a little bit.
Be a surprise.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, as far as what's going to... Two boxers get a round of applause. I'm interested to see how Flores' style will translate at Nationals.
Because you got great, great boxers there that will be able to box him. And Flores does get the victory out of the red corner. We're going to step aside very, very quickly as, again, congratulations to Sergio Flores. We'll step aside, and when we come back, we got a special guest here ringside back after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dr. Ed Freeman Award. The presenter is Sean Stratton from the UPS store. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. It is time for the final bout of the evening. This is the big boys, the heavyweights. Eddie Guillen fighting out of Whatsoever, and Deshaun Webster from Community Boxing. This is the first time we've seen Community Boxing here on the card this evening. Webster out of the blue corner and Guillen out of the red corner. We'll start with Guillen. What can you tell us about Eddie?
Eddie, he's in your face. He's exactly what you want to see from a heavyweight, especially of his size, of his stature. He brings a lot of hooks, a lot of power, and a lot of excitement. We didn't see him last year at the Golden Gloves. He didn't make weight for the 201 weight class, but he's back. He says he's in great shape. But what you're going to see with these two, Deshaun Webster, even less experienced than Guillen. 22 bouts from Guillen, 11 from Webster. This is not what you're going to typically see at Nationals. These two not expected to do a whole lot necessarily, but they got a lot of raw athletic ability.
And when you see guys that are this big with the kind of footwork that is required to move around the ring, you cannot help but be impressed. Like you said, Webster, a guy who's been in this spot before, lost by decision last year, so maybe a bit of revenge on the mind of Deshaun Webster.
Yeah, you know, a bit. It wasn't against Eddie Guillen, though. And Eddie was the defending champ last year, or at least he would have been. So he may be a little bit out of his depth. I don't know. Deshaun Webster, I thought he looked pretty decent so far in the tournament, but it's a whole different animal when you're in with a whole different fighter.
Guillen in the red trunks and Webster in the black trunks with the gold trim. Our final bout of the evening. Fighters touch gloves in the middle, and we're off and running here in round one.
Little side note, Eddie Guillen, one of the more active Twitter presences in the KC boxing scene.
Just like the guy we're going to hear from after the first round.
Yeah, you know it.
Tim Spears has a pretty good Twitter account, don't he even?
At T Spears, baby.
So far, the feeling out period hasn't resulted in too many punches thrown. Of course, as soon as I say that, we have a quick exchange.
I mean, this is a bit of the type of matchup you saw in our last fight, or even the fight before. It's going to be Webster trying to box, Guillen trying to get on the inside. Guillen looks a lot more calm in the ring than I've seen him in the past. Sometimes he rushes himself a little bit, looking for that big punch, but I don't know if that's going to be to his advantage or detriment.
I think there was to his detriment as Webster landed a nice short left. And you can see Webster doing, at least it seems to be, he is trying to be the aggressor against the aggressive fighter, trying to throw before Guillen is able to throw hands.
Well, you always want to be first. You always want to stop your opponent's momentum. If you can keep them from throwing a combination, why wouldn't you? Especially against somebody like Guillen who has some power in both hands.
Fighters come together once again. We have not seen that big shot landed so far here in the first round. It looks to be pretty even.
Just a feeling out round. That sometimes happens with the heavyweights, but besides a little bit slower, you got a lot more power, which means they're a lot less inclined to take a shot.
That's a good one from Guillen, though. Snaps the head of Webster back. As we approach the end of round one. Webster and Guillen going at it. As we approach the final seconds here of round one as the fighters come together, we're joined now ringside by someone, you know, you may be able to give a little more insight into this than Tim Spears can. We're joined by Cam Awesome here ringside. Cam, first off, thanks for coming down.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And now, you're a Golden Gloves champion, you're a national champion, but to come back here to see these guys get in the ring again, what does this event mean to you?
It means a lot to me. The Golden Gloves is primarily one of the reasons I got started fighting nationally, and it's a tournament with the most prestigious trophy.
Mm-hmm.
We get this beautiful Golden Glove ring. It's like a Super Bowl ring. It's got your name on it. It's got the location, and the only way to get there is to win nationals. The only way to get to nationals is through Kansas City Golden Gloves.
And you know, the experience at nationals now, of course, the winners from this will be going to Las Vegas. If you could sit down with each one of these guys and give them your advice on what is the key to nationals, what would it be?
The advice I would give is train harder, because there might be someone out there training harder than you, so you always got to keep on pushing and expect top competition in all 4 or 5 fights you'll have at nationals.
And you know, real quick, I want to get your take on this first round. What did you see in this first round from Eddie and Deshaun?
Eddie G's putting a lot of pressure on him. Deshaun was holding a little bit and got called for pushing, but Deshaun's a strong guy. You can tell how strong he is.
Yeah, he looks like it. I don't want to get in there with him. Now, tell me, what are your future plans? Give me Cam Awesome in 5 years from now. I know next year there's a little something going on in Rio de Janeiro that you may want to be at.
Oh, is that next year?
Is that next year? I thought it was. I heard they were bringing golf back. I heard you were going to hit up the links is what it was.
471 days, but I'm not counting.
You're not counting at all. So that's Rio de Janeiro, and beyond that, you're the captain of the U.S. national team.
Yes.
Give me Cam Awesome in 5 years, hopefully with an Olympic gold medal.
Yes, I would like an Olympic gold medal in 5 years, and I would like to be in the same exact spot in 5 years talking to you or whoever it is that's covering the Kansas City Golden Gloves, because I'll be back to support these guys.
I'll be here. We'll count it down right now. 5 years from today, I'll be back. Wherever you are, wherever I'm at, I'm in.
All right.
I'm in. These two fighters come together. A little more aggression here in the second round. Tim said it is the first round kind of a feeling out period. At least for heavyweights, does it seem to be more like that?
Yes, with the bigger guys, one punch can change a fight, and you don't want to get hit with that punch rushing in. So you feel each other out, see who has the power, and if you want to exchange with that guy. And Eddie's not afraid to exchange with anybody.
As it seemed like. It seems like him and Sergio Flores from the last fight. Those are two guys you do not want to stand toe-to-toe with.
No.
And just try to hit. You want to box him.
Yeah, Sergio is a heck of a fighter. He's explosive, he's got strength, he's got speed, he's got great head movement. And Chase has a lot of experience. So it was a good matchup. Oh, big shot landed.
Middle part of the second round here. How'd you have that first round scored?
Oh, it would be a close one. I would give. Oh.
There we go.
WWE.
As I say, usually that's in an octagon with a cage around it, one would assume. Yeah. Everybody's all right.
Tough guys. Tough guys with sportsmanship.
Yep.
We went in 2013, Eddie joined us in Utah for the Golden Glove Nationals, and he had 4 of the toughest fights in a row I've ever seen anyone do. I mean, he won everyone with heart. He was out-experienced by all these guys, and he took punches, he gave punches, and he fought 3 minutes and 30 seconds out of every 3-minute round.
And that's what it seems like. Guys from Kansas City, when they go to nationals, they may not have the experience of guys, that are coming out of California or something like that, but the heart and the stamina and the training, the amount of effort these guys put in, it seems like it's, really second to none.
Yeah, it's the great coaches we have here in Kansas City.
That's what Tim was talking about earlier. You got guys from Flacco Ramirez, guys from Turner Boxing, where you're from, and it just seems like the amount of talent here, I think it's underrated nationally, personally.
Well, we've been ranked in top 3 in the country last 3 Golden Glove Nationals, so they know about us. They know we're coming.
All right, this second round, what'd you see real quick there?
Oh, besides that body slam, I see Eddie's landing a lot of clean punches. But this guy, he's still moving forward. He's still exchanging with Eddie. So it's going to be a tough one to judge.
All right, Cam. Hey, thank you so much, sir. We're going to step aside before we get to the final round.
Thank you.
Here in Kansas City, Missouri, the third and final round of the final bout here. It was great to have Cam Awesome on the program. I said he might be able to provide a little more insight. He hasn't won too much, in his boxing career, but no, one of the more talented guys that has come out of Kansas City.
Yeah, he's been around a little bit. And, tonight, this bout, this is kind of where it all starts. It wasn't long ago that Cam was in their same position. Cam got where he was in an extremely short amount of time. In a matter of about 6 years, Cam has gotten to where he is. So these guys, I'm not saying they're the next Cam F. Awesome, but you know, you never know what these guys could turn into during the national tournament. You never know what these guys could turn into just in a couple of bouts. They're so young, they're so athletic, and they got a lot of potential.
Right now it's turning into a great piece of boxing theater right here in front of us, this final round of the final fight. It's a close one so far. That was a good shot from Webster.
Like so many bouts before it tonight, I think it comes down to the third and final round. I think Webster boxed Guillen in the first round. I think Guillen got to Webster in the second round, and now it's a matter of who lands the more effective blows.
We also had that body slam in the second round. That
wasn't bad.
Right on our doorstep. You can see now the intensity level just ratcheted up all the more. I think both fighters know they need this round to get a victory.
Good left hook.
Now that is when you were talking about punching first. I think that's a good example of it.
Yeah, just catch him when he's coming in. Every time he gets within arm's length of you, you want to be punching. This is the last round. You got to close it out, put a bow on it.
Here comes Guillen once again, trying to give Webster no room to breathe. Good duck out by Webster. Here we go. Closing seconds of this third round. We're about done here. The 2015 Kansas City Golden Gloves. Good inside shot from Webster.
And these two fighters get to decide, does it come to a close in a flurry or a whimper? Because Guillen wants to close the show.
Oh, Webster! Goodness gracious.
That's what I'm talking about when I say catch him coming in. And that may have just won Webster the round. It may have won Webster the fight.
Just teed off. Huge right hand.
Guillen's got to do something to take this round back.
Cam said one punch can change a fight. That might have been it. And that is it. It's all over. What a shot from Deshaun Webster in the final 15 seconds. We'll get Tim's thoughts on that and the entire tournament when we come back.
Did you know that a wish granted gives a child and their family a chance to feel normal, stress-free, and may improve their condition?
Did you know it costs an average of $7,500 to grant one child's wish?
Did you know that in 2012, Make-A-Wish granted the wishes of 14,000 children with life-threatening illnesses?
Did you know that every 28 minutes a child is referred to Make-A-Wish? Did you know your gorilla athletes want to make just one of those wishes come true?
I'm Dylan Dolly, Make-A-Wish Chair for the Pittsburgh State Student Athletic Advisory Committee. This year, Gorilla Student Athlete.
After the decision,
welcome back into Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, Kansas. The final fight of the night, the heavyweight division, Eddie Guillen and Deshaun Webster. Boy, that final shot from Webster might have won him the fight. What do you think?
You know, the adage in football is any given Sunday. The adage in boxing is any given punch. And I think it was one punch from Deshaun Webster in that third round that won him this fight. And I think it's going to send him to Las Vegas.
You talked about when trying to catch him when he comes in. Guillen was on his way in. He was halfway there, and that big right hand really halted him.
And he wasn't even that rocked. It was just sometimes you catch him off balance, but you catch him hard off balance, and it's enough to convince the judges. That was a great job by both fighters. They both performed well. All of the fighters tonight performed well. And honestly, as a man who shamelessly plugs the Kansas City Golden Gloves, I'm very excited about this year's team going to Nationals.
That's what KMF Awesome said when he was up here, that this Kansas City team has always been so good in the last 3 years, been ranked in the top 3 when they go to Nationals. And Deshaun Webster is headed to Las Vegas. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that one punch, the fact that a count was given, was enough to win him that third and final round.
Yeah, I believe so. It won him just like so many fights tonight that were won in the 3rd round. Calvin Metcalf, Sergio Flores, Marcel Davidson all won in the 3rd round definitively and are going on to Las Vegas. It was a great job, and I'm excited about this team. Tommy Hewitt-Johnson, Tevin Moore, both fought each other, but both are going to be on the team in different weight classes. Then we got Misael Reyes, who was a walkover champion, Marcel Davidson, Brian Clements, Marcus Davidson, Calvin Metcalf, Sergio Flores, Deshaun Webster, and Cam F. Awesome. I'm ready for this year. I'm so ready.
I think they're ready too. Well, it's been a great night. I always love coming here to the Golden Gloves. Big thanks to all of our Caps 13 crew, our director Cameron Molina, Javier Luna, Jacob Wieland making a return to Caps 13. You're making a return too, Tim Spears. It's been a little while. We're going to say so long here from Memorial Hall. Tim, thank you once again for having us. It's been a great night. I'm Stephen McTeer saying so long from Kansas City.